368 lava buckets. That's how many you can expect to get from this lava farm after it has been loaded for a little bit. So I would highly recommend building this inside of a well-loaded area like a shopping district on a multiplayer server. However, if you're playing single player or you just don't have this thing inside of an area that's loaded very often, do not worry because this thing will still produce several buckets of lava for every single minute that you're AFKing at it. Although this lava farm might look daunting, it is very easy and simple to build, with the only requirements being that you're going to need a significant amount of iron. Unless you have a huge overstock of iron or you have access to getting iron easily, I would highly recommend building an iron farm. If you need a iron farm tutorial, I have 2 of them. One of which is going to be very simple and easy to build, which is going to produce a pretty good amount of iron, whereas the second one is going to be more complicated. However, it is going to produce the most amount of iron that you can get for a single village farm inside of the Bedrock edition. So this farm will pretty much start itself as soon as you get into this water stream and start going back and forth. But before you go into the water stream, you are going to want to make sure that your inventory is full and you have 1 empty spot inside of your hotbar. You are also going to want to remove your boots if you have depth strider, because depth strider will break the farm. If you're unfamiliar with how to easily fill up your inventory, you can just take a stack of items and then click and drag to easily fill up your inventory. Now that we have an empty spot inside of the hotbar, we just jump inside of this item stream and face towards these cauldrons. It's going to push us all the way over. Once we get to the end, we're going to trigger that, which is going to send us back the other direction, and then it's going to start dispensing buckets to us. We're going to hold down the right click if you're on a computer or the left trigger if you're on a controller, and then that's going to harvest all of the buckets. Now if you're just using a controller, you can plug it in and use a hair tie. That way it holds down the button whenever you're AFK. If you're on a computer, then you can just use a key holder program in order to hold down the harvesting trigger, which is going to harvest all of the lava for you. All of the lava buckets are going to make their way into the hopper system, and as you can see, it does not take long at all for all of this to fill up with lava. Now that you know exactly how to use this farm, let's jump into building this thing. Everything that you're going to need is going to be down inside of the description below. While you're down there, please drop a like. It really helps out the channel. Let's try to hit 500 likes on this one. That would really help me out. Thanks. The very first thing that you're going to want to do, aside from gathering up all of your materials, is going to be to chunk align this. I know that this is not everybody's favorite thing to do. However, this is the only way that I can guarantee the reliability and the performance of this farm. If you don't know how to chunk align, then there is about 1.5 million different tutorials on YouTube showing how to do it for the Bedrock edition, so go ahead and give those a search. Trust me guys, it's worth the time, that way you don't run into any of your farms breaking. The way that I prefer to chunk align is using the Foxy No-Tail marker pack. This is a wonderful pack that just involves having a armor stand and a banner of any kind. And because it is a resource pack, it's not going to disable any of your achievements, so it is good to use on practically any world. You just give your armor stand a banner and it's going to give you a bunch of different tools, one of which is going to be a chunk outline grid. If you're interested in downloading this pack, I'll put that down inside of the description below. While we're over here, if you are interested inside of the dimensions of this farm, it is going to be 20 blocks wide looking at it from the front, by 20 blocks deep looking at it from the side. It's going to be 9 blocks tall from the surface of the ground, and it's going to go underground by 3 blocks. Now we get into the fun part. We need to mark out this area inside of these chunks. So you are basically going to have this front chunk here that's going to house all of your redstone and all of the bits that make this work. And on the back side here, you are going to have your entire lava farm, your piston feed tapes, and all of your cauldrons. It is critical that these are marked out inside of the chunks correctly. That way you do not run into these breaking at all. So the chunks that you are going to focus on is going to be this back chunk and also this front chunk here. On the front chunk, you're going to go all the way to the top left corner of the chunk. And then once you are here, you are going to go to the left by 4 blocks, counting this block. So 1, 2, 3, 4, which should bring you 3 blocks into the next chunk over. From here, you are going to turn right and you're going to go 7 blocks to the right, counting this block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then counting this block, you're going to go 20 blocks forward this direction, 7 blocks to the left, and counting this block, you're going to go to the left by 12. Counting this block, you're going to go forwards by 6. From here, go to the left by 9. And then from here, you're going to follow this all the way back until you get to the block that you started on, which is right here. If you've done everything correctly, this should overlap into this chunk on the left by 3. 1, 2, 3. This back marked line should border the inside of the rear chunk line. And then on the right hand side, you should overlap into the chunk on the right by 1. So this is what you should end up with here. Once you have marked out this area, you are going to dig this down by 3 blocks, just like this. And then at this point, we can go ahead and turn off our chunk lines. give the armor stand a different item that is not a banner, and now we have the area that is nicely dug out that we can work with. Now, because the lava farm actually requires a lot of lava in order to make the farm work, every single one of those lava blocks that are over top of the dripstone do actually have to be a actual source block of lava, so I would highly recommend making a little makeshift lava farm first. That way this thing can fill up while you're actually building the farm. So what you want to do is place you down 5 or maybe 10 cauldrons like this. You're going to jump on top of these, you're going to go up by 2. Build this across all of the cauldrons. And then you're just going to enclose this all the way around, just like so. Fill the entire top here full of lava source block. And then underneath here, remove this and place down your dripstone. Now, while we're building this will actually be filling full of lava. Be sure to look over here every now and again. Whenever you see one of these full, come over with a bucket, put you down a chest, grab the lava bucket and start filling up that chest. You may need a couple chests. That way you can at least get a good start on your lava production. So now back to the main lava farm. What you want to do is go to the right hand side here to this block, and we're going to go to the left by 1, place you down a regular piston here. Then we're going to place down 16 in total going that direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Then we're going to go all the way back to the right hand side here. And on this piston that you started on, we're going to place down 4 cauldrons. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to place down a temporary block to the side, a permanent block here with redstone on top of it. Remove this permanent block and place a piston facing this direction. So it should look just like this. Now down here at the bottom, you're going to place down a piece of redstone dust here. You're going to grab some more cauldrons and you're going to place 11 on this one going towards the right. So 1, no bedrock. You're not supposed to place it like that. Okay, apparently the hitboxes are a little bit broken. Then you're going to place down 2 temporary blocks here. Okay, really, Bedrock. So apparently the hitbox on the cauldrons are a little bit skewed, so make sure that you look at these guys head on whenever placing blocks. Anyways, you're going to place down 2 temporary blocks here, 1, 2, a solid block here, and remove this middle temporary block. Then you're going to grab a regular piston, place down a regular piston facing that direction, a piece of redstone dust on top, and then we're going to jump on top here and place down 4 cauldrons, 1, 2, 3, and 4. On the very top here, we're going to place down 3 temporary blocks. Jump all the way back down here, remove 2 of these temporary blocks, and place down a piston facing down. Now you can remove this temporary block and place a piece of redstone on top of this piston here. Now on the left hand side, we could place down a temporary block here, and then we're going to run cauldrons all the way across here until it meets up with the other side. And remove that temporary block. So this is what you should have. Now before you go repeating this 15 more times, there is a few things that I would like to tell you because, well, there's a certain order to do this, and if you don't do it in the proper order, then it can be more difficult than it should be. So go ahead and grab your glass, or you can use solid blocks for this if you would like. I prefer glass. And we're going to place down a piece of glass on this middle cauldron here. We're going to drag this all the way across to the right hand side. Then we're going to go to the other side. We're going to drag this all the way to the right, an additional 15 blocks, making 16 in total, which will come to the end of your piston here. Now to make things a little bit easier to see, I took off my glass resource pack, so now you should be able to see the glass much better. So now that you brought this out 16 blocks, we're basically going to fill this in, making an entire platform, just like this. So you are basically taking all of that glass that we put there and extending it this direction by 16 blocks total. Now that we've done that, we're going to do the exact same thing up here. So go over to your redstone dust here on this side and place down a piece of glass there. That's going to drag all the way over here. Except for now, you're going to go 1 additional block. That way it's going over top of this cauldron as well. So you should have 11 pieces of glass. And I just realized that this piston is too high. So what we want to do is place that one there. Remove that redstone, remove that, place down redstone dust, and then we're going to bring our glass down by 1. That was my bad. So let me bring this all the way across just like so. So that's a nice easy fix if you realize that that was a problem this early into the tutorial. So you're going to extend this 12 blocks in total. Now with those 12 glass blocks that you put down, you're going to extend these to the left by 15, making 16 in total. And that should line up with the rest of your platform there. Again, overhanging by 1 in the front, and then fill this in. That way you have a platform here. Now you're going to go to this glass block. Counting this block, you're going to count to the right by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're going to place down 2 temporary blocks directly underneath here. Grab you a observer, and then you're going to place down your observer facing into that block there with a solid block on top of it. Go ahead and remove these 2 temporary blocks. Now that we have most of our glass installed, we can come down here, remove this temporary block here, grab you a bunch of pointed dripstone, and you're going to place a piece of pointed dripstone underneath every one of these pieces of glass. Then I would take a look on top and make sure that you did not miss any. It's going to be easier to see if you missed any probably from the top looking down if you're using glass. If you're using solid blocks, you're just going to have to look thoroughly on the bottom and make sure that you did not miss any. Now if we put pointed dripstone on the roof, that's going to make it very difficult in order to fill this full of lava. So we are actually going to focus on that now. What you want to do is grab you some more cauldrons, and we're going to place in all of our cauldrons going down this side of pistons, and we're going to stack these all up 4 tall. Once we've done that, we're going to come to the back side and we're going to do the same thing. Take all 3 of these and drag them all the way over. Now you want to grab you some solid blocks and also some redstone dust. We're going to grab our solid blocks and bring this all the way over to the end of the pistons. Let me remove this one that I accidentally placed there. Grab your redstone dust and bring this all the way down the line, just like this. And now you're going to take all of these cauldrons here and extend them all the way to the end. And once you've done that, grab your solid block over here. You're going to extend this all the way to the end. And then you're going to take your regular pistons and you're going to place regular pistons going all the way down, facing this direction towards the cauldrons. Grab you some redstone dust and line this entire thing with redstone dust. Grab you a observer and line it up with this observer going straight down. You're going to place it right here where it's going to face into those cauldrons, and the output should be going into that redstone dust. For now, to keep this thing from moving, we're just going to remove that piece of redstone dust. And now you want to grab your glass and we're going to go to this side. We're going to place down a temporary block, a piece of glass here. Go ahead and remove that and bring this all the way across. Then we're going to do the same thing on the other side here. Temporary block glass, remove that and bring this all the way across. Next, what we want to do is get all of our lava installed for the lower section and the pointed dripstone for the upper section. So first, what you're going to do is grab you some temporary blocks. We're going to go to the center here on the left-hand side of the farm. And we are going to place a block to the left of the center and to the right of the center, just like that. Make sure that you have 4 blocks on this side and 4 blocks on this side. And you're going to make these lines going all the way down. Once you get to the very end, you can remove this one and then place one right here. That way you have a 2-block gap. And then you're going to bring this all the way down too, just like so. And then at the very end here, we're just going to place down a temporary block down here as well. And then you're going to grab your pointed dripstone. We're going to be placing pointed dripstone on every single block here that is glass above us, that is not above the walkway. Once you've done that, go on the roof, make sure that you have not missed any of the pointed dripstone once again, or you can look from the bottom if you use solid block. Everything looks good here, so what we're going to do is start filling this full of lava. Alright, so this side is filled for the most part. I have intentionally left a area here that has a source block missing. And as you can see, all of the lava is flowing in towards that missing source block. So you want to make sure that you don't have any flowing lava in here like this. And if you do, the way that you would fix that is just by placing down a source block of lava wherever it's flowing into. So once that's done, you should end up with a totally flat surface of lava just like this. And then you're going to do the exact same thing on this side with absolutely no flowing lava. Once you have all of your lava filled in like this is what you should have so far. And what you're going to do at this point is just go ahead and fill this in right quick. That way you have a nice, safe, walkable platform. And then we are going to do this inside of this exact order. We're going to remove these. We're going to place in 3 buckets of lava, 3 dripstone, and then we're going to step backwards and repeat. Remove, 3 lava, 3 dripstone, step back and repeat. Do this until you run into the end. And once you are all done with that, this is what you should end up with. Again, not missing any of the stalactites and also not having any flowing lava. Now at this point, if you have access to the fire resistance potions, you can jump inside of the Fun Happy sauce and put in the rest of your cauldrons. or you can do it the way that I'm about to show you. So you want to go on these cauldrons here and walk on the edge all the way over. Grab you some more pistons and grab you some more solid block. We're going to take the solid block and we're going to extend these all the way across, holding shift, that way you do not fall off the cauldrons. Then you're going to take your redstone dust and place redstone dust all the way across all of these solid block. And then lastly, you're going to place in the rest of your pistons. Now while placing these in, you might have to remove 1 or 2 of your pointed dripstone depending on their orientation, and then just replace whatever pointed dripstone that you had to remove. Again, make sure that you don't miss any of your pointed dripstone, and it should look like this. So at this point you can grab you a temporary block and a temporary lever. Go to the center here, place down the temporary block with the temporary lever, and then what you're going to do is grab you a whole bunch of cauldrons, and we're going to line this entire row with cauldrons. And then once you get to the very end of the pre-existing piston feed tape, you're going to remove this one cauldron, that way it does not push those pre-existing ones down. So you're only going to be putting in the 15 on the left hand side, and then you're going to hit that lever, which should push all of those. Then you're going to repeat this until all of your cauldrons are lined up with the cauldrons on the other side. Once you are done with the painstaking task of putting in all of these cauldrons, make sure that you don't have any down here. As you can see, because of that bug, I have placed an astronomical amount down here, even though I was placing them up here because, well, Bedrock edition. So if that is the case, we do want to remove all of these. And again, you want to make sure that all of these come to the very end where they're not underneath the piston area. Now I did push this one out just to show you guys if it does end up pushing all the way over here. It's at the push limit, so it's not going to push any further. However, what you want to do is just remove it there. So you should not have any cauldrons in this line. You should not have any in this line. And you should not have any inside of this line down here either. You only want cauldrons inside of this line down here. And by lines, I mean directly in front of the piston face. Next, we need to actually get this piston feed tape operational, which is very simple and easy to do. The first thing that you want to do is come to the very front and remove this temporary lever and temporary block. We're going to grab a observer, and we're going to line it up with the rest of the observers there. So on this block here, we're going to place an observer facing towards that cauldron there. Just like that, the face should be facing the cauldron, the output arrow should be facing towards this block here, which will then power this redstone dust and power all of these pistons. Then you want to come to the very back side. We're going to grab our regular pistons and also our redstone dust. We're going to start off by placing down a piece of redstone dust here. Grab our regular pistons and we're going to place in 15 of these facing down all the way until we get to the very end here. Just like so. Then take you some redstone dust and line the entire top of the pistons with redstone dust. And now at this point we should be able to come to the front, grab you a test lever, and we should be able to place down a lever here, give it a quick flick off and on, and that should rotate these all the way around just like so. Go ahead and remove this lever. Now before we move on to installing all of the redstone, what we're going to do is grab some more glass. We're going to place down a temporary block here, place down a piece of glass here and here. Then we're going to do the same thing to the corner directly across here. Glass here, and remove that temporary block. Now we're going to wrap this glass all the way across. Once we get to the edge here, we're going to bring this all the way across. Then we're going to do the same thing on the other corner, bringing this all the way across. And then we're going to grab this and bring this all the way across. And at this point, you probably guessed you're going to fill this all the way full of lava again. Next, we're going to get started placing in some of our redstone components. You're going to want to grab you some observers, some redstone repeaters, some sticky pistons, redstone comparators, redstone dust, and some solid block. You're going to want to come to the left-hand side of your farm, and you're going to want to come down to this row of dirt, which will be 2 blocks down from the surface. You're going to go to the right by 3 blocks, so 1 block, 2 block, 3 block. Place down a solid block here, here, and here. You're going to place another one up here with redstone dust on this. Grab you a sticky piston and face a sticky piston this direction, and then place you a observer facing this direction with the output arrow facing towards you. You are then going to take your solid blocks and skip this block, leaving it open. Place down a solid block here and here with redstone dust here and a redstone repeater here. Leave this on the default 1 tick delay. Then you're going to grab your solid blocks again, come back over here. We're going to extend this out an additional 4, so 5 total. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to extend this out by an additional 3. 1, 2, 3. Place you down a redstone repeater here on a 4 tick delay. a redstone repeater here on a 4-tick delay, redstone dust here, and redstone dust here and here. Take you 2 redstone comparators and face them this direction, and 2 more facing this direction. So it should look just like this whenever you get done. Next, you're going to want to grab some observers, some glass, some redstone blocks, sticky pistons, hoppers, redstone dust, solid blocks that redstone can pass through, some regular chest, and regular pistons. You're going to come down here to this repeater, and you're going to place down a double chest here and a double chest here. Grab you 2 hoppers and place down a hopper here and a hopper here. Then you're going to place down 2 hoppers going into the right side of that chest and 2 hoppers going into the right side of this chest. Grab you 4 more hoppers and place them facing into these hoppers on the top here. So they should be orientated like so. Then you're going to grab your regular pistons, come to the left hand side of this chest. On this block, you're going to place down a regular piston facing up with a block of redstone on top of it. Place down 3 temporary blocks on top. Remove these 2 on bottom, and then you're going to place down another regular piston facing straight down, just like so. Remove that temporary block. On this block above the redstone, you're going to place down another temporary block. Face a observer facing into that. The observer output should be facing towards the right hand side. Go ahead and remove that temporary block. Grab you another observer and face another observer facing into that observer. The output should be facing towards that repeater. And then you're going to take another solid block and place it right between that observer output and the repeater. On the right hand side here, we're going to take a piece of glass and place down a piece of glass right to the side of that piston. Then you're going to place down a solid block here, 2 temporary blocks on top. Remove this temporary block, and then hopefully you'll be able to crouch down and place down an observer here facing up. I may need to remove this bedrock. Hopefully you won't have this problem inside of your world since you're not going to be pressed up against bedrock. But you basically want that observer facing up like that. Then you can remove that temporary block and replace whatever block that you just broke. For now, we're going to place down another solid block here. 2 more solid blocks coming to the right, and redstone dust all the way across these and down onto that piece of glass. Then grab you a sticky piston, place the sticky piston on the side of that observer there, and then we can finish this up with placing 2 pieces of glass here and here. Now, because we are going to have water flowing down here, we also want to grab some solid blocks and place solid blocks along here. We're going to place another row right here and bring this all the way until it runs into your pre-existing wall. If you want, you can replace this and make this look a little bit better. Most of this is going to be covered up. Now is where a lot of the fun begins, because there's quite a bit of redstone packed inside of this little area, but it's all pretty straightforward and simple if you follow along. So you want to go to the front of the farm and then go to the left hand side where you've been working. Find this solid block directly underneath that observer facing up. You're going to place down a piece of redstone dust here, and then grab you 8 redstone repeaters. Face them all this direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All of these need to be on a 4-tick delay. And once all of these are set to a 4-tick delay, then you are going to place down a solid block here. Place down 2 redstone comparators facing this direction, a piece of redstone dust, 4 more comparators facing this direction, and another piece of redstone dust here. Make sure that you do not left click on any of these. Then you're going to place more redstone dust here, 4 more comparators facing this direction, another piece of redstone dust, 2 more comparators, and another piece of redstone dust here. Next, you're going to find this piece of redstone dust here, grab you a sticky piston, and place the sticky piston down facing this direction. You're going to skip these 2 blocks and place a observer facing this direction next to that block. And then you're going to place another observer here with a gap in between. Both of these should be facing each other. Then you can place down a block here with a redstone torch on top. Another solid block on top of that with another redstone torch on top. Grab you 2 repeaters and place a repeater here and a repeater here. Both of these should be on the standard 1-tick delay. And then all the way on the left hand side, we're going to place down a solid block here, a solid block here, 1 here, and 1 here. Place you a button of any kind here with redstone dust here, a repeater on this block facing this direction with redstone dust that runs all the way down and then goes to this piston. The next, you're going to want to grab your glass, your repeaters, your sticky pistons, your redstone dust, solid blocks, and redstone torches. You're going to grab your solid blocks first, come over here to this observer. We're going to extend this out by 3. 1, 2, 3. To the right by 1. Then you're going to extend it an additional 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Extend it out by 1. And then an additional 6 again. and then extend it out by 1. On all of the spots that you extended it out, you're going to place a repeater facing this direction on the default 1 tick delay, and one here as well. Take you some redstone dust and fill redstone dust all the way across here. Then we're going to take some temporary blocks and place one here, one here, one here, a sticky piston here, a sticky piston here, and a sticky piston here. You can remove all 3 of these temporary blocks that you just placed down. Grab you some redstone torches. On this piston here, you're going to place one to the left and one to the right. And then on this one, you're just going to place one to the right hand side. We're going to place down a temporary block here with a sticky piston here facing up. Remove that temporary block. We're going to do the same thing here. Place down a couple temporary blocks here. Place down a sticky piston here facing up. Remove those 2 temporary blocks. And then on this left hand side, we're going to place down a temporary block here, a solid block here, a piece of glass here with another solid block. Remove this temporary block. And you can follow that up with redstone dust here and here. So this is what you should end up with. Now, as you can see, whenever this line is powered and unpowered, you can see that it is going to switch this, and this is going to be responsible for changing the directions of our water stream. After you're done testing it, you can leave a piece of redstone dust here. Next, we're going to get started placing in the empty bucket system and some of the player ice streams. So you want to grab some trapdoors of your choice, some packed ice, some droppers, some hoppers, and also some barrels. You want to go to your little mini torch tower here, and over here to where this repeater is. You're going to grab your droppers, and you're going to crouch and place down 3 droppers facing straight up, just like this. And on the bottom dropper, you are going to place down 6 hoppers going this direction. Then you're going to place down a barrel on the top of the last one, a hopper going into the back of that barrel, another barrel, and another hopper. Now you're going to do the exact same thing on this side here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Jump up here, place down a barrel here, a hopper here, a barrel here, and another hopper here. So you should have this. Next, you're going to grab you some packed ice, and we're going to place packed ice down going from this barrel all the way across until you run into this dropper. And then you're going to do this on this side as well, bringing this packed ice all the way across until it runs into this barrel. We are again going to grab some temporary blocks and place down a temporary block on this barrel here. To make things easier, we can drag these all the way across until you get to this barrel. Then we're going to place down our trapdoors just like this, and they should be able to be flipped up just like so. So go ahead and flip all of these up. Then you can remove all of these temporary blocks. At the very end on this piece of glass, you're going to want to add another one here. And on this end where the hopper is, you're going to want to add another one here, just like so. So now you want to grab some stairs of your choice and some solid blocks of your choice. These are going to be visible from the outside. With this redstone line powered here, you are going to place down a block here, and a block here. Then you are going to take some temporary blocks and place down a temporary block here, 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 and then here, here, and here. On these temporary blocks, you're going to place down stairs in all of these locations. And then you can remove all of these temporary blocks. And then on these sticky pistons that don't have a block, you're going to place down a block on top of all 3 of these. Now on this piston here, we're going to place down 2 temporary blocks, one here and one here. We're going to remove this one, place down a observer facing that temporary block, so it should be facing straight up with the output going down. Then you're going to place down a dropper on top, a temporary block on top of that barrel, a piece of string on top of that barrel, and then a observer looking at that piece of string with the output going into that dropper. Go ahead and remove that temporary block. So whenever you hit that string, it should extend that piston down below. Now, just like this side, we're going to be doing the same thing to this side over here, except instead of a piston, we have a piece of dust. So what we want to do is place down a solid block here, 2 temporary blocks here and here, remove that temporary block. Then we're going to place down a observer facing up into that temporary block. The output should be facing down into this block. We can go ahead and remove that. Place a dropper on top. And then we're going to place down 2 temporary blocks, one here and here. Remove this temporary block. Place a observer here facing that temporary block. Go ahead and remove that, and then place down a piece of string here. Now at this point, the farm should be operational aside from dressing it up and adding in the other water streams. So what you want to do is go to this side over here and hit that. And that should end up changing it over and making the farm cycle. So as you can see, we have those 3 blocks that just went up, and now we're getting some buckets dispensing. And then if we go to this side over here and hit that string, it's going to cycle the farm in the other direction. Those 3 are going to go down, these 3 are going to pop up, and then you're going to have more buckets being dispensed, which is exactly what we want. Now I did already have these droppers loaded full of buckets, but if you wanted to test this out, you can just place any items that you want inside of the barrels on either side, and then that's going to basically reroute them into that dropper system. Just make sure that you take all of these out before you actually run the farm. Now the only thing that we have left to do is to dress this farm up. So what you want to do is take you some solid block and just wrap this around here, just like this. You want to fill this all in here. Once you get to this back edge here, you want to take your stairs and just run your stairs all the way across here. We can fill this in on this side as well to make it look a little bit better. Now on the right hand side, to make this look a little better, we can just place in some solid blocks here, some glass here, bringing this up by 2. We're going to take this glass and drag it all the way across, and then double that up by 2. That's going to make sure that your buckets stay inside of the farm and go where they need to. And then we can stack this up just like so. And that's going to keep everything contained. Now we just have to finish putting in our water stream. So we need to open one of these and go down here. Go ahead and grab you some solid building blocks and place 2 of them here. Then you're going to take some packed ice and place it here and here. You're going to build this out a total of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're going to do the same thing on this. Then you're going to place down 2 more, 1 here and 1 here. Bring this all the way across until it runs over those hoppers, just like so. And then you're going to take some more solid blocks and place them on top of these hoppers here. Grab you some water buckets. You're going to place down 2 things of water here. 2 things of water here. Go out of this trapdoor and close it. And now everything's going to be funneled down into that double chest. You're also going to grab your water buckets and waterlog every one of these stairs here. And then one of the last finishing touches, you're going to go down to the center of the farm, turn around, and on the left hand side here, you're going to place a button down here and a button down on this one as well. That's going to make sure that the water goes where it needs to. So in order to test this out, all of the water should be flowing one direction. And then once you get to the end of that direction, you should be able to hit the string, and it's going to change it to flow the other direction. Once all of your buckets are done being dispensed, you can hit that other string. It should change. Everything should flow back the other direction. More buckets should start dispensing, and they should all go into that hopper, making a continuous loop. Now the way that I like to run this system here is to have all of the lava buckets going to whatever you have fueling it. So for example, we're going to use a giant super smelter. You would have all of these go into that super smelter. I prefer to put a sorting system underneath these chests. That way, if any of the empty buckets make their way into any of these chests, it will sort out those empty buckets and recirculate them back into the empty bucket storage, which would be here or over here. And then I would also recommend putting a empty bucket sorting system on the output of whatever smelter that you're running with the lava. That way, whenever it kicks out all of the empty buckets, they are automatically routed back into the bucket storage. That way there is basically an unlimited amount of buckets that you're constantly circulating. Then if your smelter is close to being out of fuel, you can come down here and know that you're going to be full on empty buckets. And then once you get pretty close to running out of empty buckets here, you know that your smelter is going to be full. So it's all just one big happy loop, and it works very, very well. Then lastly, if you wanted to just cover this stuff up, you can replace this glass here. It's not going to hurt anything. And then you can just bring this across and hide all of the redstone just like so. You get the idea. It's entirely up to you. So I guess the only thing to do is test this out. I've put myself in survival mode. Let's jump into it and see if it works properly. So make sure again that you don't have any boots on with depth strider, because that will break the farm. And then you're just going to go across and wait to get some buckets. That way it fills it up properly. And now that we have a bunch of buckets coming in, you're not instantly going to have a full stack of buckets. It's going to take you going back and forth a few times. And we are just going to go across. Whenever you're aiming on this, I would highly recommend that you aim a little bit to the right hand side. That way whenever you get to this end, you can get that cauldron. And then whenever you make your way all the way to the other end, you're able to get the other cauldron as well. That way you don't miss any of these. Whenever you are done, you just go over to either one of these barrels, drop your buckets inside of there, and walk away. It's literally that easy, and you don't even have to hit an off switch. So let's break this, drop down here, and we should have a bunch of buckets in here. The storage system here is primarily more of an example. I'm sure that you would hook this up to a much larger storage system for all of these non-stackable lava buckets. As seen on the project Bedrock here, we have a absolutely huge silo that has a bunch of double chests going all the way up, and we also have some indicator lights on these silos. These are going to be stored here until they are needed, and then once they are needed, they are going to make their way down to fill up the hopper minecart on the super smelter underneath our smeltery. As I mentioned, all of those empty buckets are going to be recirculated back to the lava farm. That way they can be recycled and reused. Well guys, that's going to wrap up this Minecraft Bedrock farm tutorial video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this farm, and I hope that you get a ton of use out of this lava farm for years to come. This lava farm, although it seems a little bit more complicated to design and build, it is actually very straightforward and simple, and there's really not much on it that can break. Just like any other farm, just make sure that you don't unload it while it's actively running, and it will never break on you. If you feel like this video deserved a like, again, please drop a like. It really helps out the channel. Let's get to 500 on this one. That would really help me out. And if you really like this video, then consider subscribing. That way you don't miss any of the upcoming videos on my channel. Thank you guys. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.